Welcome back, Bottle Killers. It's another episode of Bottle Kill TV. I'm your host with the most. It's Michael Roche. And as always, we have the often imitated, never duplicated. It's the real Bottle Killer, ladies and gentlemen. How the hell are you?
Doing good today, Michael. Thank you. And thank you all for joining us once again.
Okay, good. So today we have Ardnahoe.
Yep.
Ardnahoe's first core range release, I believe.
Yep. Yeah.
And so Ardnahoe was a distillery, a new entrant to the Islay whiskey scene.
Mm-hmm.
From Club Lang, was it?
Not this again. Hunterlang, is it? Yeah.
Oh, my Rocky Free jokes.
Yeah.
But yes, they are a new entrant to the scene, a new distillery on Islay. They released a 5-year-old.
Yeah, the inaugural release, 5-year-old. We did a review of it on the channel.
Very, very highly anticipated, held in high esteem. So they definitely delivered on the hype that was bestowed upon them. And so now they've gone for a release, and it still seems that the goodwill that was taken from the 5-year-old, that people were really excited to see what they would do with a core release. It's a non-age statement. I don't always judge people with the non-age statements like other people do. I know some of the people online like Ralphie, he talks about liking an age statement so he knows exactly what it is. Me not so much, because I think on Islay, Kilhoman. Kilhoman rarely do an age statement, but I really trust their quality and I trust their integrity of what they're doing. So it doesn't always equal that, but you would assume then that this is going to be below 6 years old, right?
Yeah, definitely, I'd say.
And so yeah, any thoughts on Ardnahoe?
Well, yeah, so we did a review of the inaugural release, probably around about back in May, was it, when it came out? Felt like May. It's a nice sunny day, wasn't it? And we cracked it open and got it up on the channel quick. And I've actually nearly finished that bottle. And I remember we did a trip to Glasgow recently, and we were in the Lismore, and you were drinking it, and you were like, smell that, what do you think it is? And I thought it was Port Charlotte, because it was that good quality, and that was the 5-year-old Ardnahoe inaugural release. And I've actually, as I say, nearly finished the bottle. And the day before this came out, I went back to it. I was like, if it's as good as I remember it, the inaugural release, then I'm definitely going to buy a bottle of the Infinite Loch. And I tried it and I was like, oh yeah, it's superb. And then I ordered this, got it a couple of weeks ago now, comes, and it's a completely different whiskey. It's so different. I think the inaugural was very meaty and barbecuey, and this is definitely more of the salty sea spray kind of peat. So I think we can dive into the whiskey. It looks like you're already getting
whiskey
the nose,
sniffers,
getting the nose in there.
It's undeniably Islay straight away, because we batch record these reviews a lot of the time, and we just came off doing a Teeling's Irish whiskey.
Yeah.
Bourbon cask, no peat.
Definite palate changer.
And then you go on to the Islay, and it's like instantly you know where you are in the world.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a classic salty, maritime-y Islay kind of nose. That sea spray, the brine, all those kinds of notes that we love, that peat smoke, kind of herbal, very rugged, maritime-y, seaweed, all of that kind of
very
good
saline
stuff. Yeah, definitely.
It's very saline, very salty, yeah. Seaweed.
And you get the citrus fruits as well, those lemon peel kind of flavors as well, I think. It's I don't know, actually. I don't like comparing, these newer distilleries to like the established ones. Oh, it's a bit like an Ardbeg, or it's a bit like a Lefroy. But it's given me more Bunnahabhain Monya kind of vibes, like the peated stuff that Bunnahabhain do, because they're like right on the coast as well, and you get a lot of that lovely like saltiness. So I think it's a very maritime peat kind of character on the nose.
Yeah, when we're thinking about pictures that the whiskey invokes in your mind.
Yeah.
For me, this is defo takes my mind for like seaweed. When you're on like when you're on the beach with lots of rocks and you're climbing the rocks by the sea and you're trying not to slip. And the seaweeds at your feet. That's kind of like the picture that the place is. It's very coastal.
Definitely peaty. Coming off that Irish whiskey, yeah, it's definitely it's kind of given me that hit me in the face. I know that I'm trying to
napalm in the morning.
Here. Napalm in the morning, defo.
It's got a very burnt palate on it, hasn't it? So it's kind of like that. It'd be interesting because we're actually gonna do an Octomore
Yeah.
after this, which is like the ultimate burn, the
Taking it up,
ultimate
taking it up.
burnt whiskey, the ultimate smoky whiskey. But yeah, this is really burnt. It's kind of like very sudden burn. Not necessarily in the way that I'm
You want it to
a
be?
big fan of. Yeah.
I think the first sip definitely sort of hit me at the back of the throat and took my breath away a little bit. You know, even having had a kind of a warm-up dram in the Teelings, I don't think my palate was quite ready for what I'm experiencing here.
That's one thing. Sometimes when you're drinking whiskey, order is so key,
Yeah.
isn't it? The order you do things. Like we did a session a couple weeks ago where we did a Johnny Walker Blue, and it was followed by a 10-year-old Glenfarclas.
Yeah.
and the 10-year-old Glenfarclas didn't get the. It didn't get a. It didn't. I didn't think it got a. I don't think it got a fair chance at the plate.
Yeah.
To swing the bat, because it was just following a totally different whiskey, totally different style of whiskey, totally different composition of whiskey. This is just take a moment to maybe adjust.
Yeah.
I just did this, but well, I'm not. I would have liked to maybe have tried the Ardnahoe again, the 5-year-old, and just reset my memory to what Ardnahoe was about, because I still don't have the signature mind in my mind like I do of the Ardbeg, like I do of Port Charlotte, that I do of Bruichladdich, do I do of the Freud.
Yeah, definitely. And that's what I did. So I did try it recently. And I'm a really big fan of the inaugural release, the 5-year-old that Ardnahoe did. I think it's got those more barbecued meat kind of flavors. You know, I describe it as a meaty, peaty, barbecuey, that kind of smoke. This is more ash, kind of like, you know, white hot ashes at the end of a fire. It's got some kind of like menthol quality to it as well in the palate.
What I actually think we do, I think
like eucalyptus, you know, remember Fisherman's Friend, those like really strong sweets.
Yeah, I think
it's like a fisherman's friend, fisherman's friend in a glass kind of. It's got that licoricey, aniseedy, menthol kind of vibe going on.
But I don't know if we've done this before. But what I would do is, I think maybe we pause this, leave it to sit, go on to the next review, and come back to it. I think give it a bit more of a fair shake.
Yeah, happy to do that.
Okay.
Let it settle for a bit.
Okay, we'll see you soon. Okay, welcome back, bottle killers. We just came back to this, so we actually did an Octomore in between. So let's get stuck back into this one then. So we kind of came back to this because we kind of went to it, and the type of burn, the type of peat.
Yeah,
I don't think we're really giving it a fair shout. Our palates hadn't adjusted, and I think for this one, it's important for our palates to adjust.
Definitely. So we're just coming back to this, having tried Octomore, the second most heavily peated whiskey that's ever been released, and actually letting this settle and come back to it. It feels thinner because that Octomore was so rich and like just viscous and thick.
So it doesn't actually seem peaty at all. It seems like quite salty.
Yeah.
Quite saline, quite coastal. It doesn't actually seem that peaty, even though you do get. Don't get me wrong. If you buy this, you will taste peat in it. It just in comparison to what I just had, it's like the salt jumps out at you more than the peat.
100%.
Until you get to the finish, then the peat.
It's that style though, isn't it? It's the very briny, saline style of Islay whiskey. Lemony, citrusy, spicy. Yeah. But I think it's kind of now in the shadow of what was a very excellent Octomore.
So the last whiskey that we did, last session that we did, was the Kilhoman, Marks and Spencer's Kilhoman. I'd say that's a direct comparison. That's a very fair one to compare it to. I would pick the Marks and Spencer Kilhoman.
I'd agree with you
over this.
I'd agree.
I think they've done a better job with the same type of whiskey that they're going for, the same style of peated whiskey.
I'm with you on that one, definitely.
How much was this?
I think it was about 60, 65. So no age statement. As I say, second, first core release, second bottle from Ardnahoe Distillery. I much prefer the Inaugural. I thought the Inaugural, the 5-year-old, set the bar very high. I don't want to say like I'm disappointed in this, but I would certainly agree that the Kilhoman Marks and Spencers that we were drinking the other week, if I was to put these side by side and test them, I'd definitely give the nod to the Kilhoman.
And it's 50% cheaper as well.
Absolutely. So yeah.
So
And
it's
I think that kind of
so you
probably takes us. Well, I was going to say it probably segues us into the is it a buy or not a buy question.
Yeah, it's a tough one. It's a tough one. So you know, new distillery is always going to win on hype and trying something different, and their craft, you know. And so, one thing you know, it will be a well crafted whiskey, and they're really trying to create a style, you know. And it's not exactly one. It's not. It's just because I've had something that was a non-age statement Islay whiskey just a week or so ago.
Yeah,
and I was blown away by how good it was, which was Kilhoman. But they've got 20 years of experience now.
absolutely, yeah.
Ardnahoe, what have they been open for? Maybe 7 years? Have they been producing
something
whiskey?
like that, yeah.
You know, 6 or 7 years. And so, you know, they're still finding their feet. Not quite as good as I was expecting compared to my memory of the 5-year-old.
Yeah.
Infinite Loch, I would say go and check out the Kilhoman review.
Yeah.
Maybe give that one a try first.
For me, in terms of like buy or not a buy, I probably would say not a buy. I feel not as enamored with it as I did with the inaugural release. Big fan of the distillery. We've been there, we've visited. I think maybe just this whiskey, this style, it hasn't landed with me as well as I would have liked it to. Like maybe my expectations were higher based off of the quality of the inaugural release, and then also I do tend to prefer the meatier, the Octomore, the charcoaly, campfirey, sweet and peaty, rather than the briny, lemony, salty kind of style that we've got here with the Infinite Loch.
Which I think is fair because you said I went to my shelf and I grabbed the Ardnahoe 5-year-old.
Yeah.
And I had a dram the other day, and I made my decision whether I buy this bottle based on that. And so you were hoping it might build or give you a
exactly
leading point into that, but it hasn't. It's kind of gone for something different.
Yeah, 100%.
Which is fair enough for the core releases. You know, as they start to get 3 or 4 core releases, they're all going to have their own character. They're all going to have their own personality, and therefore have their own fans. You know, something with Ardbeg is each of their core releases have their own fan base.
Yeah.
Like Inaugural is not my favorite Ardbeg.
No.
Corvecan is.
Yeah.
But for a lot of people, they swear they live and die by Inaugural. For some people, they live and die by the 10-year-old. You know, and they won't have anything else said. So it's interesting. I think we're there. So Bottle Killer, take them out.
Yep. Thanks once again for joining us. I hope you've had a good time. I've had a good time. Michael, have you had a good time?
It's been a bye.
And we'll see you next time on Bottle Kill TV. Okay, so as we always do on Bottle Kill TV, we've got a very short 2-minute review of the Ardnahoe Infinite Loch, which is their first core release. Michael, why don't you kick us off with this one?
So a direct comparison for this, for me, is kind of the Kilhoman style of whiskey.
Yeah.
The Bunnahabhain style of whiskey. It's kind of like very, very salty, very, very saline-like.
Yes. Yeah, I think Ardnahoe, I feel, maybe are falling to be like the victims of their own success here because the inaugural release was such a high standard and quality, and I was comparing it to that. It's a completely different style of whiskey. So like Michael said there, it's the more saline, coastal, maritime style of peat, which a lot of people love. It's not my favourite style of peat. You know, you've got the lemons, the salt in there, seaweed, again, very, very coastal. There's a menthol quality to it as well when you get into the palate, almost kind of herbal. I think I described it as fisherman's friend in a glass. So it's a good whiskey. I think it's just completely different in style to the inaugural release, which was more to my flavour profile. But still, yeah, tasty, enjoyable whiskey.
Yeah, I think it's one you try in a whiskey bar to see if you like it. For me, I wouldn't have it as a buy. I think there's better alternatives for Islay right now.
It's good. But it just didn't reach the heights of the inaugural release for me. But nevertheless, you know, one worth trying. Check it out, like Michael says, if you see it in a bar. And thank you so much once again for joining us. Do not forget to hit that subscribe button. And we'll see you next time for more whiskey content and entertainment on Bottle Kill TV. Do you know what's funny? We're actually in different outfits because we switched outfits for the Octomore. So we've done the first half in a Guinness t-shirt. And now I'm rocking the Hulk Hogan for the second part. So... There you go.
You give our production secrets away. We have to cut that now. I don't like knowing that.
Should I go and put the Guinness t-shirt back on?